Annette's Little Farm in the big city. Today we're going to be working in the garden. I know we've been spending a lot of time in the garden lately, but the fall and the spring are when you're going to be spending the most time in a garden. And in the early spring, you have cold weather vegetables. In the late summer, you have cold weather vegetables. And in between, you have your warm weather vegetables. It's kind of complicated, but not really, because you know we like simple on the little farm. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be taking a few plants out that didn't quite work out and probably aren't going to last too much longer, and we're going to replace them with some seeds that I got. Now I'm going to show you these seeds because these seeds, I got these from the local library. They have a seed bank there, and you can go ahead and exchange seeds. If you have seeds, you can bring them to the library and have them packaged, or you can pick seeds up. And I picked up some radishes and some spinach from my library. I also, in this beautiful, look at this package, it's beautiful. This is from Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company. And I ordered some seeds in here because, I don't know, if you ever get on Facebook and they kind of advertise towards you, well, I saw this advertisement for this, and I have bought seeds from them before, but for some very interesting looking carrots. And so I have some cosmic purple carrots that I am going to be planting because these like cooler weather, which is interesting. And then I'm going to plant, these are Chinese bald head mustard, and I just thought they looked very interesting, so I'm going to plant some of these as well. And then here is the carrot seed that I saw. Now, I saw a little boy, the advertisement had a little boy carrying it. I thought, oh, those look delicious. We really like carrots here on the little farm. And so, now this even says specifically on the back, it says not for spring planting. Must be planted in late summer, fall, or winter. So these really like it cold. These are going to be very interesting, and it'll be fun to have something growing during the winter besides just the garlic. So we're going to be planting these seeds today, and we're going to be taking out a few of the plants. And I just wanted to go through the garden and talk a little bit about some of the things that didn't work out very well in the garden and some of the plans I have for the vegetable garden. I already planted some Brussels sprouts because they kind of like it cold, and I thought those would be fun to plant because we love Brussels sprouts. Also, eggplant still looks pretty good even though it didn't produce anything this year. I think we'll leave that. The cucumber is looking pretty ratty, and I'm on the fence about whether I'm going to pull it up right now or not because I still see some little flower blooms on it. And I may still get a few cucumbers, which are my absolute favorite from the garden. So I don't know. I might leave it, but it sure looks pretty ratty. If I could just keep the goats away from it, maybe it'll survive a few more weeks. Let's talk about these tomato plants here. This big boy, and they just never really seemed to like where I placed them. They didn't grow very well, and the ones that did grow, the squirrels got them. And then I had Roma tomatoes. And these did very well in the garden, as you can see right now, and I just harvested a whole bunch of them just a little bit ago. And I like to harvest my tomatoes when they're just blushing red to keep the squirrels from getting them. And I don't see any ready yet, but maybe this afternoon these two might be ready to pick. But I'm going to definitely leave this one, but I think I'm going to go ahead and pull this one up. It's just taking space, and I'm not really getting any vegetables off of it. So that didn't work out very well. But I think next year I'm just going to plant this species of tomato. Now my rhubarb. I really don't know how to process it. And if you have any good recipes, maybe you could share them with me, because I'm not really sure what to do with the rhubarb other than the goats love it, and I like to chew on it once in a while. But I don't really have any good recipes for using rhubarb. But I still like it, and it grows really well here, so I'm going to keep it. I'm just going to trim it back a little bit and feed it to the goats. Now my pepper plants did not do very well this year. I have now got one jalapeno. But look. Now it looks like it wants to do something. So let's see if anything happens here. Now I did get some different kinds of peppers this year, and I get these really long peppers. I get these really long peppers, and we've been eating these. And then I get some banana peppers, and I've been eating those as well. And I noticed, for the first time ever in Miss Annette's little farm in the big city history, I actually have some bell peppers. Look at those. They're beautiful. I think I'm going to harvest those today before the squirrels find them. And I'll make us something really delicious to eat out of them. They're beautiful. And then I planted some broccoli over here. And I have some cabbages growing here and some cauliflower. Now this is spaghetti squash that didn't do very well at all this year, and now it's suddenly taking off. But look, it has all these little bugs in it, so I'm going to have to do something about that. I'm not quite sure. Season's almost over. And look here. In my compost, I had a rogue melon. How about that? I think she looks so pretty, I think I'll let her grow too. So there's a couple of things. I'm just going to go ahead and let them grow until the first frost. And then I'll probably get rid of them once they get frosted. We'll see if anything happens. If I get any spaghetti squash, or if any of these peppers. Now, here is my garlic bed, and I'm going to be planting my garlic in here. So, I transplanted some of these poor little onions. Oh, the onion patch this year just did not do very well at all. We did not get very many onions. It was a bad year for onions, but we just keep trying. And the garlic came out really good. We had some really good garlic this year. So those were some of my victories. And the Swiss chard. Oh my goodness. We've harvested this so many times this year. I love it. It's wonderful. I planted this last fall, and it's so colorful and pretty. I'm really excited about that. So now I'm going to look around. Where am I going to? I'm going to plant my spinach, because I did already plant some lettuce in here. So I'm going to plant my spinach over here, but I'm trying to think of where can I plant those carrots. Let's look. I think I might plant them over here. After I get rid of this tomato plant, I'm going to have plenty of room. And I'll get some more compost and put it over here. Look at my compost this year. It was beautiful. I'm sorry to be so braggy about it, but it came out beautiful this year. Just continually turning it and making sure I put the right things in it. It's beautiful. All right. Let's get to work. So we're going to pull this out. I keep my tomato plants trimmed back a lot too. And that was easy to pull. I just pulled it right out. It doesn't really matter whether you're planting in a raised bed or in the ground, your soil is important. And that's why I amend it with my compost. But if you don't have access to compost like I do, you can always get some at your local garden center. One of the things that I'm doing to get the garden ready for winter is I'm putting some of my compost on there, and I'm going to take all of this compost out and put new material on the bottom and put this on the top. What I'm not going to use in the garden. I'm going to use the compost in the garden. I wanted to show you guys what we see in good healthy compost. Got some roly-polies in there helping decompose the materials. It was a nice big one. Let me see if I can find one of these worms. These worms are huge, and this compost is nice and warm. I want you to see how big this worm is. Look at that. Means my compost is nice and healthy. Turn this over just where I'm planting it, and I'll leave the rest of the soil compacted. It's okay. Not to disturb anything other than where I'm going to be planting. That way the worms and the microorganisms don't become disturbed. I just want to loosen the soil a little bit for where I'm planting. And I'm going to add the compost to the top of it. Look at this. See, I think I can even go a little bit further here. I also decided to transplant some of these Swiss chard because they were getting pretty thick. So I'm going to split some of these and plant them in here. I usually try to get my chores done early in the morning because the morning is nice and cool these days, but the afternoons are hot, and I try to get my chores done. And if I can't get them done, then I stop and come back out later on in the afternoon, and that might happen here because the sun's coming in pretty strong. Anyway, I think we're going to have time to plant these. And on the back it says, this unusual root crop is a winter staple in northern China and may be poised to become the next exciting winter crop. Ooh, excitement on the little farm. All right, so it's tolerant of heat and frost, but best planted in cool spring or fall conditions. So it has been pretty cool, and it's starting to get cooler. We still have some afternoons that are a little bit warm, but it is starting to get cooler, and the days are getting shorter. So it's a good time to plant these. I'm going to go ahead and sow them right here. But before I do that, I'm going to split this Swiss chard. I still have trouble saying that, guys. Swiss chard. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and split some of those and transplant them too. I'm going to plant that one right here. Make sure it's nice and deep. How deep do I put them? Well, 6 inches apart and 1/4 inch deep. And sometimes if you want them to germinate quickly, you can soak them and then put them in the soil. I have a friend who does that. These are definitely a winter vegetable. It even says on the back, must be planted in late summer, fall, or winter, not for spring planting. So these must really like it cold. And I'm really excited about trying these from China. I guess the climate there must be a lot different than the climate here. I don't know. I've never been to China. Have you? Let's look at these seeds. Oh, wow. Look at this. Look at these seeds, and they have a coating on them because carrot seeds are really small. This will make it easier to plant. All right. Let's see what it says. It says to plant them an eighth of an inch, 2 to 3 inches apart, and let's see. That's all we need to know. An eighth of an inch to 2 to 3 inches apart. So we could probably plant a lot of them in this spot. Let's go ahead. I'm going to dig a little. Let's see. I want to plant some. I want to plant a lot of them. So I think these will be neat to have in the wintertime. Row here for my spinach. These are what my spinach seeds look like. They're very tiny. I should have about 20 of them, so I'm going to put 20 in each row. They have to be about an inch apart. So that'll be good. About 20 inches. And these are my radish seeds, and I have my little rows ready to put my radishes in. So I'm going to go ahead and plant my little radish seeds, and we're almost done. Just going to plant the garlic and water everything, and then we're good to go. Planted these poor onions in there, but I don't know if they're gonna make it or not. We'll see. Anyway, let's plant some garlic. Hopefully, squirrels and such will leave it out. So I'm gonna loosen the soil, and then I just have to stick the bulb in there. And they can grow pretty closely together too. So I get this bulb, and I'm going to split it apart. You're going to end up with a clove like this. And this is the clove that you're going to stick in the ground, and you're going to stick it in like this. Well, the garden looks pretty good. I spent all day working on it. It looks great. Now, some of you might be going to school, you might have a job, you might have other obligations that keep you from growing a garden like Miss Annette's. Don't worry about that. You do you. From one pot to 1,000 plots. You do you. You decide. But try something. Grow a tomato if you like tomatoes. Grow one cucumber if you like cucumbers. Put it in a pot, put it in the sun, make sure it has water and soil, and you've got it made. All right? Now, thank you for visiting Miss Annette's Little Farm in the Big City. Make sure you get outside today, and we'll see you next time. Bye!